Hey, welcome back to the channel. This video, I'm recording it. I have no idea if it's going to make it to air or not. It kind of depends what unfolds in the next week. The last couple of days I've been out on the one of my bikes and I've had a problem with it. So it has to go into the dealership to be potentially repaired. And I'm not the kind of person that likes to hang on to things that are not reliable. As soon as I start having a problem with something, especially something relatively new, I'm very intolerant of that. Right or wrong, it's just that way I am. So my decision on which of my two regular riding bikes I'm going to get rid of, that decision might be getting made for me next week. So let me show you. So if you don't recall, I have two regular bikes that I ride. Yes, I'm very fortunate to have the luxury of two motorcycles. 2023 Triumph Tiger 1200 Rally Explorer, 2023 BMW S1000 XR. And the BMW, although you can't see it now because it's kind of dried up, the last 3 or 4 rides, you can kind of see there's one little spot right there. See that kind of wet spot there? The water pump, there is a weep hole. So the water pump is inside the oil pan. And see right there? That's that there's coolant right there. Dripping out of the weep hole, the back of the oil pan. Inside that oil pan is the water pump. And as we all know, when the seal fails, that weep hole is to allow the coolant to escape and not mix with the because it's a dual mechanical seal, so you don't want the coolant mixing with the oil. So there are now 8,000 kilometers on this bike, and I do love the bike. It's a phenomenal bike. I absolutely love it, but in order to replace that pump, the exhaust system comes off, oil cooler comes off, oil pan sump comes off, all the new pump and the seals and whatever else has to get replaced in there, and then it all goes back together. So different people that I've heard talk about this online, or I shouldn't say heard, seen, because it's kind of more the written commentary. Some dealers have told people that it's relatively normal to have some sort of, weepage, and some people have always had these things serviced by the dealership, and the dealership have changed out the water pumps whenever they have failed. So to me, it's not normal. Because if it was normal, it would have been happening to me for the last 2 years and the last 8,000 kilometers, and it hasn't, of course. So the process now is I have to take the bike in next Tuesday. That's a week from now when I'm first recording this, and they have to see it leaking on the bench. So they're going to have to run it up to temperature, see that it leaks, make their assessment, submit the claim through BMW. BMW has to approve the claim for the warranty. Then they have to order the parts once it's approved. Then once the parts arrive, then they have to fix the bike, and so on and so forth. So there's a whole process that BMW has to follow in order to fix my bike. So, I mean, that's not a surprise. I understand the process. I really do. You can't fix a bike if you can't recreate the problem. You can't submit a warranty claim without a problem being confirmed. You can't order parts and all the rest. I get that. So I mean, this bike will be with them for a week or two, I'm going to guess. That's okay. I'm fine with that. I acknowledge that's kind of normal. No problem with that. However, as I said, I'm not the kind of person, this happens to me I say all the time. Whenever it happens to me with my vehicles, if I have a problem with my vehicles, trucks, any car, whatever, that bothers me sufficiently, I will just get rid of it. because I just become very intolerant, especially things like this where, you know, you've got to crack open the engine. Sure, it's just dropping the sump, but anyway, you know what I'm saying. It just gives me the willies to know that my bike's been taken apart. Don't like it. So there is a high probability, but not a certainty, that I'm going to trade this in. When I go on Tuesday, I'm going to be looking at two bikes, kind of two potential options. If they have an R1300RS in a slightly lower specification, in triple black, I know they don't have one there, but if they can get one, then I will do that deal. The other possibility is I trade both of these bikes in and get a 1300GS. Because I just can't. I've learned through my experiences in the past few years, I think as I mentioned in an earlier video, I lean towards and prefer the adventure bike. The riding position, the comfort, and all the rest of it. That's what I love is the adventure bike. It's kind of my thing. I love the BMW, the XR. I really do. And maybe I should just bite the bullet, let them fix it, as long as they're willing to do that, and then ride it. Thing is, it's out of warranty in about 4 months. So 3 or 4 months time, in October, it's out of warranty. So right now, if they deem this to be an abnormal situation, it will be fixed under warranty. But come October this year, I'm on my own with this, and I'm not sure if it's a wise decision to own a bike with this amount of technology on it without a warranty. You know what I'm saying? It scares me just a little bit. So there we go. There's my my ramble. That's what's happening here, and we'll see what happens. So it's 3 days later from the first clip that you just watched on this video. And since then, I've made a decision on what's happening with the bikes. You may recall last summer, I don't know, last summer, last fall, I can't remember. There was a video that I put out around, you know, which bike do I keep? And I kind of went through the pros and cons of, you know, the Triumph and the BMW. And I just couldn't decide which way to go on it. There was things I liked about one, there was things I liked about the other. There's things I didn't like on one and things I didn't like on the other. And you know how it goes, no bike is perfect. And I just couldn't make my mind up, so I just kept both of them. And you know, this spring, same thing, I didn't really put too much thought into it. So here they both sit. However, with the recent developments on the leaky water pump on the BMW, and sure, the dealer's probably going to cover it under warranty, but you know, they're going to be pulling the bike apart, and I don't know, I'm just, as I said before, I just can't deal with the fact that, you know, I'm basically more or less a brand new bike, dropping the pan. Yeah, they'll fix it, but this is, from what I understand, a fairly common problem and a repetitive problem on these particular bikes. The water pumps are an ongoing issue. So it's an end of warranty in a couple of months. And while this time it'll be covered, the next time it won't. Excuse me. And I think, as I said before, you get bikes like this with the higher amounts of technology in them, and things, as soon as they start to go wrong out of warranty, you're euchred, right? It just costs you an arm and a leg. And similar to cars these days, there's just so many things that you know, the regular guy cannot fix on these new bikes. You can do your own oil changes, you can do your own gear oil, and you know, final drive oil if you've got a shaft drive or whatever. But you know, you can't even reset the service reminders on these bikes anymore yourself unless you've got the software. So my decision is I've finally kind of woken up to the fact that it's a bit excessive, to be honest, having these two bikes, and I do need to get down to one. And the bike that I'm going to choose to keep is neither one. Neither one of these bikes are sticking around. So they're both getting traded in, and yeah, I decided to pull the plug on a brand new motorcycle. You know, I'm fortunate to be able to do this, very, very fortunate. It's not going to cost me any extra money out of my pocket. I'm not exactly getting a whole pile of money back in my pocket through this deal either. But at the end of the day, I've decided that brand new 2026 bike, and we'll see if it delivers everything that they say these bikes deliver. So, if I had to pick one bike to keep, it would have to be the Tiger, because it's an adventure bike. And I've come to the conclusion now, after having this bike, which I do love, it's been an incredibly good bike. I still prefer the riding position and the comfort of an adventure bike. This particular bike is so damn tall, even with the suspension dropped down a little bit, with the little button that you can use on the handlebar for that, I can still barely touch the ground. I can do it on my tippy toes, but I can't do it flat-footed, and that does generate for me a little bit of discomfort. It doesn't really inspire me with heaps and heaps of confidence. So yeah, that's the main reason why I decided not to keep this particular bike. As I said, it's comfortable, it rides well. The electronics are completely shit on it. As I've said before, they're just abysmal. But aside from that, it does everything that it's supposed to do. But I have to feel 100% comfortable on the bike. And if I'm being completely honest, I've never felt 100% comfortable on it. So yeah, that's the main reason. It's not just the fact of going down to one bike. It's kind of one insurance, one lot of maintenance for routine maintenance. One set of tires and all of that kind of stuff. So both of these bikes are probably going to need tires at the end of this year as well. So I'm avoiding some of that cost, although I am taking a bit of a shit kicking on the depreciation, as you always do with whether it's a newer car or a newer motorcycle. But both of these bikes are 2023s. So this is kind of probably the best time, 3 years old, even though some of them I haven't had for 3 years. From a trade-in value perspective, it's probably not going to get any better than this. So this is where we're at. All right, both bikes have just been washed and detailed. They are nice and shiny and clean and ready to be loaded up into the trailer so I can take them in for the trade-in tomorrow. I like to make sure that if I'm trading a bike, that it's as clean as it can get within reason. I'm not going to spend hours and hours, but if I expect the bike that I'm picking up to be clean, that I just bought, then if they bought a bike off me, or in this case two, then the least I can do is make sure that they are clean and they feel like they're getting their money's worth out of the deal. Yeah, I just think they're a decent thing to do. The only thing I would say is, I think generally speaking, I'm really, really happy with the money that I got for the Tiger. I mean, it's a 2023. The kilometers are very low on it, 5,000 K. So yes, I should get decent money for it. And the money I got is, I think, very, very fair for this one. This one also 2023, 8,000 kilometers on it, and the money was okay. When you consider the tax break that you get with the trade-in money, it's okay. I'm okay with it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have traded them. I would have had to think of another solution. But generally speaking, really super happy with what I got for that, and I'm okay with what I got for this. So yeah, I'm going to miss both of them in some way, shape, or form. I got to be honest. I tend to get I do tend to get attached to my bikes in some way, shape, or form. All right, we're all loaded. I've got both the bikes in here. Everything's fine. Everything went off without a hitch getting them in. I will tell you that it is awful close there. The handlebars on the Triumph fit right in between the mirror and the handlebars on the BMW, especially as it kind of pops up into that chalk there. I have to move the mirror so it doesn't get clobbered. So yeah, we'll get this wagon on the road tomorrow morning. We'll be this is We're in afternoon. It's a nice day here today, so hopefully tomorrow is just as nice. It's a lot nicer to drive when the weather's good. I get out of here about 6:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. On the road, heading to get the new bike. About an hour into the trip and about 2 hours to go. So I'll bring you back in once I get there. All right, so we are all unloaded. My two beauties are there. Let's head in. I don't know if the other one's ready yet or not, but we'll take a look.
Have you ridden one already?
No.
Oh, really? Oh, you're gonna be in love. You will. No issues.
There it is.
It's sweet.
Beautiful. (2026) R1300GS. That is beautiful. All right, we are home. Just a long drive back. We'll get her unloaded, and the crazy thing is I haven't even sat on it yet, let alone ridden it. So yeah, busy day, and I just did all the paperwork, loaded her up, and here we are. Yep, so there, that was my first very short ride on the bike. And yeah, it is completely different than the last few bikes that I've had from an adventure bike perspective, for sure. Much lower seating position. So it's much more comfortable to get your feet on the ground. You don't feel like you're teetering and tottering at all on this bike. So that's a good thing. That's a big plus for me, for sure. I mean, I'm not a short guy per se, but I'm not super tall either. And then the other thing that strikes me right away is the feeling of the engine being a horizontally opposed twin. Feels very different to like a parallel twin in the Africa Twin or the triple in the Triumph or what have you. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to give any sort of real opinion at this point, right? Because it's, you know, it's only the first 100 yards on the bike in the first day, but yes, so far I'm loving the way the bike looks. I like all the features. I like the seating position, and I think the one thing that I am going to I'll get online. I'm going to buy some engine guards, probably a rear parcel shelf for it. I did have BMW put the radiated grills in. They stole them off one of the other bikes that was there. So because it's going to be a few weeks before anything that I order arrives, and I really didn't want to be getting bugs and risking the rocks in there. So that's fine. All right, first ride on the GS. I'm in Mattawa, Ontario, which is southeast of North Bay. A little bit south, a little bit east of North Bay, and it's right on the Ottawa River. Beautiful spot here. So yeah, I thought I'd just kind of stop and give you my initial thoughts on first 100 kilometers or so. Right, so I guess the long and short of it is I'm enjoying the bike. It drives really well. There are some pretty significant differences to the two bikes I traded in, so I'll kind of touch on those briefly, but very little vibration, none really to speak of through the hands or the feet. It's super smooth. Being a big twin, boxer twin, there is a bit of a kind of a shake at idle, as you would expect, same as you get with a big V twin, but it's not, it's not a concern of any sort. It's just a characteristic of the bike. It's just kind of the way they are. But yeah, it's really smooth. Surprisingly kind of grunty exhaust note on it. Got a really nice little burble at idle, and it really really has a nice snarl to it when you get on the throttle, surprisingly. tons of torque, like deceptively quick. You get up to speed in a real hurry on this thing. It's quite deceiving. I keep looking down because I got the bike in front of me here, but yeah, I really enjoy having the more of a touring tire on, better than the knobbies. Very stable on the road. The riding position is pretty good. Your knees, like your legs, are a little more closed up, kind of the top of the leg to the bottom of the leg than on the Tiger, but very similar to the XR. I would say the only thing that could be a little bit softer on it is the seat. So the Tiger seat was way soft. I could have ridden that bike all day long. This is about the same as the XR, and it's better than my Africa Twin. So it's kind of in the middle. Let's put it that way. I rode here. It was about an hour to get here, and it was, you know, there's no problem. I didn't ever feel the need to pull over or anything like that. There's a little bit of the occasional miss, I'll say, in the engine when it's idling. I don't know if that's just kind of a thing. I've noticed it a couple of times at low speed or at idle. It kind of just miss once and then it'll be fine. I don't know if that's kind of a GS thing or whatever, but that's kind of one thing I have noticed. What else? It's very confidence inspiring to ride. It does not feel like a big 1300. It feels like a much smaller bike. There's nothing imposing about it at all. When you come to a stop, because it has the active suspension, it automatically lowers itself down, and I can touch flat-footed with bent knees on the ground, so it's very, very easy to maneuver and really easy to handle at the slow speeds and at the stoplights and all of that kind of thing. So there's no teetering and you know, the anxiety that I was getting a little bit with that Triumph, because even with the when you push the lowering button on the Triumph, I could never touch flat-footed on that thing. It was very, very tall, much taller than this in every way, and so you had a lot of weight up high. So it was very top heavy, the Triumph. This it's shorter bike. It's maybe the same wheelbase or a little longer, it looks like, but all the weight is down lower. So it feels much more planted, and it doesn't feel like it's going to topple over on you at all. So that's kind of a cool thing. Yeah, no vibrations. Like when you're riding it, nothing through the hands, nothing through the feet. Surprisingly smooth. And the electronics I'm all quite used to from the XR, so it's all quite similar that way. The adaptive cruise control works really, really well. So it'll maintain that distance to a vehicle in front of you. It's got the blind spot detection on it as well, so that's excuse me, that's a nice thing. I really enjoyed that on the Triumph, so it's nice to have that again. So yeah, so far so good. I'm going to get back on and continue my ride, and maybe we'll get some more thoughts at the end of the ride, and we'll see how we go for the rest. I got another couple hours ride ahead of me, and then head back home. Yeah, I gotta say, it is a good looking bike. When you sit on it, you don't feel, as I said, you don't feel that you're on top of a very giant bike. The fact that it's got much more of a gentle slope to it, and the other bikes, you kind of had the seat, and then you had a big hump for the tank, and then the back of it, the other one went up here, so you felt like you were in it more, even though you felt right on top of something super, super tall. This one, you don't feel that at all. It's you feel much more kind of lower to the ground. It's hard. I've never felt anything quite as interesting as that one to ride. It feels really, really, really good. The other thing I've never mentioned on this thing is it has the automatic suspension. So I'll have to demonstrate it in another video. But when you put that center stand down, the other thing it does for you is as soon as the center stand comes down and touches the ground, it automatically lifts the bike up. The suspension extends front and rear, so that requires you to have way less effort to put the bike up on the center stand. So it's all kind of, you get this helping hand, so to speak, with the the air ride or hydraulic, whatever it is, to lift the whole bike up, and then it takes much less effort to lift the bike onto the stand. I never was able to get that Tiger onto the center stand without rolling the back tire up onto a plank of wood to get that extra height. So this should not be such an issue to get up there, because you do get that helper. I think that feature is only available with the active suspension or whatever they call it. But yeah, that's a cool feature for sure. All right, so I'm back from my first ride. It did about 200 kilometers. And so here's a couple of more things I'll just mention generally what I've noticed about the bike, and then I'll kind of give you the summary of what my thoughts are on this bike. So kind of suspension wise, at this point, I'll be honest, I haven't really played too much with the suspension settings. It's got the dynamic adjustable suspension, automatic adjustment. So when you're stopped at a stoplight, it automatically lowers itself down, and you can touch flat-footed with bent knees. You start moving again and it lifts itself back up to kind of riding height, which is kind of more traditional, I guess, adventure sort of style height on the bike. I took a road back home that was pretty twisty, and it has some rough sections in it as well. And I would say that the bike just feels incredible in the twisties, way better than you would expect an adventure bike to feel. That's probably partly because of the kind of the more general touring tires that are on it. It doesn't have the 60/40 on-road, off-road tires. So that probably helps, but generally, I think the other factor would be the center of gravity on this bike feels way lower. Probably the boxer style engine, the seating, everything. It just feels planted. There's no top heavy feel to it at all. I've got to play around with suspension settings to see see how it feels. But if I compare it between the bikes I just came off of, the XR and the Tiger much softer, XR much stiffer. But again, I haven't played with the settings on this. Generally, really pleased with that. The gearbox, very different to either the Tiger or the XR. Much longer throw between gears on the GS. Again, not altogether surprising. A super sport bike engine like it's in the XR, very short throw shifter. But having said that, the GS, it is a very positive gear engagement, generally speaking. I think the downshifts feel better than the upshifts on the GS. I'm not sure what other people think from that perspective, but just kind of what I've noticed on the first ride. It's kind of an apples and oranges comparison between the bikes. They're very different engines and gearboxes, I guess, but it's just kind of the nature of the beast. Wind protection, really good. Surprisingly good, given that, obviously there's no obvious big fairing on the front, but the windshield and the deflectors, and the fairings are around the radiators give plenty of wind protection. I did not feel buffeted or in the wind at all on the ride. And the handlebars to foot peg position. One of the things I've always liked about an adventure bike is you can stand up and have your hands on the handlebars and you're not stooped over, right? You're kind of upright. Tiger was good for that. Africa Twin was good for that. This bike is also very good for that. XR, not so much, too much lean trying to do that. But again, a bit of an apples and oranges comparison on the bikes. So yeah, I'll be honest with you, when I set off on the first ride, it felt so different to any bike I've ever ridden before. I'm like, oh boy, am I really gonna like this bike? And I gotta tell you, the more I rode it, the more I fell in love with it. I will say this, regardless of the differences or the similarities between my past bikes, Africa Twin, Tiger, XR, or whatever, this bike, above any other, is the easiest to ride. It is the most comfortable bike to ride, not necessarily from a seat soft perspective, but comfort in and confidence inspiring. I've never been so relaxed and so comfortable and so confident riding a bike in probably ever. It's just that good on the road. It feels different than any other. As I've said, the engine characteristics are different. It's got boatloads of torque. It's deceptively quick, smooth, no vibration. But I think the combination of the fact that it's such low center of gravity, and when you look down at the tank and the front of the bike, there's not a lot of real estate in front of you. So you don't have that massive bulky feeling either that you're on some sort of a behemoth when you're riding it. And it doesn't feel like an adventure bike at all. Except for the fact you can stand up on it and ride it very comfortably. From that perspective, you kind of go, oh yeah, this is an adventure bike sort of feel. But on the road, in the twisties, I don't know how I would describe it, adventure touring, it really doesn't feel adventure bike-ish. It's not top heavy. You know, I guess the wheel and tire combinations that are on it, the low center of gravity, it does everything really, really, really well. Super happy, super surprised. If I could change only one thing on it, I think it would just be a little bit softer in the seat. I didn't have any major discomfort while I was riding. I just kind of noticed it was harder than the Tiger. Better than the XR, not as good as the Tiger. I'm just trying to be honest here. And, you know, having said that, I didn't feel the need to do the butt cheek exercises while I was riding. I know if people do that. On bikes that have uncomfortable seats, I tend to have to clench my ass cheeks once in a while just to get the blood flowing. Didn't have to do that on this bike at all. But yeah, a little firmer in the seat, but all in all, big thumbs up from me. I absolutely love it. So there you go. There's my assessment of the bike. I thought this will probably go on with the rest of the video on acquiring this bike. There's no point in putting 2 videos out on it, I guess. But anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.